watching closely.
What's the secret, Max?
You just gotta find something you love to do and then do it for the rest of your life.
I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want my environment to be a product of me.
Hello, and welcome to the Establishing Shot, a podcast where we do deep dives into directors and their filmographies. I am your host, Eli Price, and we are here on episode 117 of the podcast. It is a bit of a different kind of season in the podcast. I do still have to wrap up the Spielberg series with the epilogue episode. And I believe last episode I said that was going to be this episode, but I lied. So sorry about that. I am going to be getting around to recording that episode soon. So hopefully that will be the next episode. And then you'll probably see that we will take a break, maybe for the rest of the year. I haven't really decided if I'm going to release anything else yet. I might do kind of a recap on the century so far, kind of go through my maybe top 21 movies of the 21st century so far, do something like that just for fun. And so we'll see if I get around to that. Hopefully I will, but if not, then life is just being life. And yeah, I'll get around to it if I can. Life is pretty crazy right now. And so the podcast is getting a little slower for me right now. So I hope you keep listening. I hope you keep tuned in to what we're up to. In the meantime, if you would like to go leave a review, that would help the visibility of the podcast a ton. Maybe share your favorite episode on whatever social media you use. That would help a lot too. But yeah, those Apple and Spotify ratings and reviews help a ton. So I would really appreciate if you can do that. Yeah, so this episode, it is Halloween. So happy Halloween to everyone out there. We are going to be releasing a movie draft that we did in conjunction with, I think it was in the episode for The Dark Knight Rises. It didn't really have anything to do with The Dark Knight Rises. It just happened to be spooky season during that episode. And so we did this draft. And so my guest for that draft was Zachary Lee. You can find his work. He does a lot of writing for RogerEbert.com, amongst other publications. I believe he is part of the Chicago Critics, whatever their kind of critic group is called now. So Zachary is an awesome guy. I always enjoy having him on. But yeah, so this is going to be a horror subgenre draft. So we take the various subgenres of horror and draft movies. We have to have one for each subgenre category. And so I'll explain that as we get into the episode. But yeah, I hope you enjoy this episode and enjoy mine and Zachary's choices. But yeah, let's get into that.
We've got a really fun movie draft. It's going to be different than any movie draft we've done before. So I hope we can both figure this out and do it how I've planned it in my mind.
Yep.
But yes, we'll pick like a category or a topic that is in a movie, and we'll just kind of go back and forth and draft movies that fall into that category. But this time I wanted to do something related to horror. We're in October. I couldn't think of a good movie draft relating to Dark Knight Rises necessarily, because we've already done the DC one, we've done the villains draft and the Dark Knight episode. And so I was like, man, what are we going to do? And I was like, well, it's coming to the end of October when this is releasing, and so let's do a horror movie draft of some sort. So we kind of decided that we would do a horror subgenre draft. And so basically what we're going to do, I found an article by No Film School that I can link it in the show notes if anyone's interested, but it kind of breaks down the subgenres of horror, probably not like all of the subgenres, but like the main ones. And so it has like main categories and then like main subgenres and then like subgenres within the subgenre and in that article. And so, but we're going to go with the main subgenres. So we're going to basically, what we're going to do is still the same concept. We want to draft, you know, the best team of movies so that we can win the votes when it goes public. But what we're going to do, instead of just going back and forth and drafting from a big pool of movies, we're going to have to draft one movie in each of these subgenres. And so we don't have to draft the genres in a particular order, but we do have to fill one movie per category. And so I'm going to list these categories so that everyone can know what they are. They are psychological horror, killer or slasher horror, gore or disturbing horror, monster horror, paranormal, and then miscellaneous, which miscellaneous kind of covers stuff that doesn't necessarily fit into that other stuff. So when you can think of like there's horror comedy, or there's like found footage horror, and a few other like kind of like subgenres that maybe don't necessarily fit into those others. Those all fall under miscellaneous. Yep. And then I figured too, we could get a wild card so that we could get an extra favorite in there.
There we go.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 choices that we've got to make there. 7 movies. So yeah, I hope everyone is following what we're doing here. I hope I explained it clearly. Basically, we've got to draft one horror movie from each of these subgenres. Yep. And yeah, so Zachary's going to kick it off with the first pick. Where are you going to go? There's some extra strategy here because you want to get the best films, but you also want to like figure out which category you want to put it in.
I know, right? Yeah. And I will say it's interesting because I like, you know, per my chicken run story from earlier this episode, I think I was not big into the horror genre until honestly, I'd say last year, maybe a little bit the year before. So a lot of my horror watches are newer. So I don't know if I'm curious to see though how that'll work in my favor for the listeners of the Establishing Shot podcast, if they're more traditional old school horror film loyalists, or they're down with the modern stuff too. So we'll see how it lands.
It'll be a learning experience for me too, because I have no idea.
Yeah, no, great. We're testing the feelers out, you know, for doing some crowdsourcing info here. You know, I'll just go straight for the gnarly, the gore, disturbing film, you know, just because, you know, why not dive? Actually, wait, sorry, can you cut that and go back? I realize maybe it's better. I should say the film first and then I'll do the segment. Is that better? Or
it doesn't matter to me.
Okay, cool. You know what? I'll just do it. I'll just repeat it. It'll be fine. Sorry. I think in my mind, I was like, oh, should I say the film first and then do the genre?
No, I think either way is fine. If you want to tease it with the category first, or just go straight into the movie. It doesn't matter.
Go straight into it. Okay, cool.
It doesn't matter either way to me.
Sorry for that.
No worries.
Hope this won't be too tough to edit out in the later part of it. But yeah, no, for my first pick, I'll go in line with the newer films. I'll go with Brandon Cronenberg's Possessor. So this was released in 2020. And yeah, it's, I mean, disturbing body horror. He takes after his dad in a lot of ways, but has his own, you know, twisted take on it. I think Andrea Riseborough, right? And then Christopher Abbott are in it, and phenomenal, great stuff. And so I'll slot that into the gore, disturbing film category for my first pick. So,
yeah, I haven't seen that one. I'm trying to think too, like if I've seen any Cronenberg of him or his dad's. I don't know that I have. It's just one of those kind of like, I don't have like an expansive like horror genre like knowledge either. Like I've tried to catch up with more and more over the years, but yeah, I don't think the Cronenbergs I don't think I've seen any of them. So yeah, that's definitely a blind spot for me.
Honestly, you will probably sleep better. I'm not. It's like I once again, I can appreciate the film for the themes it has and it's trying to say, but it's one of those like, well, I guess I'll have to wrestle with my soul for a little bit having seen this. So it's but you know, curious.
Yeah, I caught up with a particular film this past week, knowing that this was coming and feeling like, oh, I should watch this. And I feel like I would have slept better if I would have left it alone. But we'll see if I draft it at some point.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with probably what I think is one of the one of the most iconic horror movies. I'm going to go with Psycho and the psychological horror. I mean, it's right there in the name of the movie, the genre.
It's perfect.
I just feel like Psycho and Hitchcock, for one, like it's a masterclass in suspense building and like, yeah, that psychological horror of just what's going on with the Bates and his mom. Like, it's very disturbing. So I just think it's to me, it's a masterclass of suspense by the master of suspense, Alfred Hitchcock. So yeah,
of course,
go with Psycho. And there's some really good ones I had written down for that category. So it was kind of hard to choose, but yeah, that's what I'm going to go with.
There we go. That's great. Yeah, I'll okay, let me see here. Seeing you went out swinging with that one. So now I'm like, I gotta think about these other categories now. I'll go with, okay, so next film, older film. So one of the, I think probably, actually it might not be the oldest, maybe second oldest title that's on here for me. Also near and dear to my heart, as I saw it for the first time this year, but I saw its sequel first. And then I saw it. So I don't know if that was the right way to do it, but it is the 1992 film Candyman. So
yeah.
I saw it for the first time at a small arts theater in DC when I was staying there. And yeah, I mean, you know, and I love Nia DaCosta's film from a couple of years ago. I thought it was great. And, you know, I'm being from Chicago and having witnessed the gentrification and changing of the Cabrini Green neighborhood, a lot of the film really stuck to me. But I think, I don't know, I just, in similar themes of what we were talking about, Eli, in the podcast about generational sin and trauma and violence and what it looks like to have it, you know, and like, you know, privileged people and like the way they like want to co-opt or turn other people's suffering into like a thesis or a project, you know, and I don't know, like what they unleash with that. I felt like very timely and relevant and still very scary and fits neatly in the slasher genre, which is where I'll place my pick there for the next film. So Candyman, the first one that came out.
Yeah, that was on my list for slasher. I don't know if I would have drafted it, but necessarily because I have one or two more that I like a little bit more. But yeah, that is, I think that's probably one of my top slasher films for sure. It's great. Yeah, I did see the kind of, I guess it's kind of like it's a sequel. It feels like half
sequel.
Yeah, it feels like half reboot, half sequel. Because it's but yeah, it was okay. I thought it was really well made. I didn't like some of the choices, but yeah, the original 92 version is very good and just really good, like disturbing filmmaking going on in it. So yeah. Okay, this is playing out interesting because I feel like I can wait on ones that you've already drafted on categories because you've already drafted them. But then again, like you might be able to draft a movie, you know, in a category because some of them fit into multiple.
Right. That was what was fun and interesting is like, where do they like slot and fit? Like I could put, you know, I don't know, like Candyman into like, was that partly psychological? I don't know, you know.
Yeah.
Like that, so. Or monster, even if you think about it in a way.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, where am I gonna go here? You know, I think I am gonna go ahead and just draft my favorite. I think what I would say is like my favorite horror movie ever, in the miscellaneous category.
There we go.
Because it's a found footage film. And that is the Blair Witch Project.
There we go.
I love the Blair Witch Project. It is like so creepy, so disturbing, and like even just like the mythos around it of like people like thinking it was real when they saw it, and like back in the day, like I just think it's like a really good like piece of horror filmmaking, but really just like a unique phenomena of like filmmaking in general terms. So yeah, the Blair Witch Project, which was 99, it was in that very strong year of 1999. So but yeah,
We love it.
I'll put it in miscellaneous, which covers the found footage genre.
Sure. No, that's great. I have not seen that, but it's reputation precedes it, so I'm just very much it's one that I want to kind of get to soon. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. All right. So miscellaneous category there. I honestly I thought you were going to say like Paranormal Activity initially or something like that. I don't know. I don't even know if that's like shot in found footage horror world, which wouldn't no diss to those films, but
yeah,
I was like, oh yeah, Blair Witch, like the revolutionary found footage horror film.
Right.
Like, of course that would be that would be on here. Oh, this is tough. Okay, now I'm like double checking. Like, does it even count? I might come back to that later. I'll go with so in the vein of Blair Witch and found footage technique, maybe it applies. So I've another film in preparation for the sequel that came out this year to the film, which is what I found. I feel like all these legacy sequels are giving me an excuse to like watch the OGs for the first time.
Yeah,
things like that. But I'm gonna go with the 81, the Evil Dead film for next pick. And we're talking about found footage, that sorts of thing. I don't know. Like, I feel like not so much can be said about the fun camera angles that are there. Like I think the way it embodies such an off-kilter sort of ambiance and personality to it. I mean, it even goes further with like the second one. The whole tree stuff, I will caveat, I'm not a big fan of that. I don't really know what the whole point of that was in this movie, but as far as paranormal, which is where this falls under, goes, I don't know. It's like it's one of those films where like it could be miscellaneous because it's also very funny, but it's I don't know, like classic like cabin friends horror, like there's this like there's no going back, you just have to fight them. There's a dread element that's there. I enjoy that. So I'll go with Evil Dead for my paranormal film.
Paranormal, okay. Yeah, that's actually another blind spot that like it's one of those that like I might end up watching it this October sometime.
Yeah.
It's one that I've always wanted to get around to. And I know for sure there's one of my friends that like loves like Sam Raimi horror, and so like you might have won a vote with that one for sure.
There we go. I got one vote potentially. Maybe.
Okay, so I think at this point in the draft, like my strategy is pretty set. I'm going to go ahead and draft a movie that I caught up with, I think last year or the year before, a classic horror movie in Frankenstein, the original Frankenstein. I want to say 19th in the monster category. I was like, honestly, like I was watching some of these older like monster movies because I was like, oh, I want to catch up with some of these classics. It was kind of like a more homework kind of endeavor. Yep. And I was actually like blown away by Frankenstein. Like the set pieces and stuff like are definitely of its time, but somehow hold up and fit the atmosphere. And then like just the ideas that are being dealt with about humanity, what makes a human is really interesting. And like even like there's moments of like really deep emotional like resonance in this movie that like totally caught me off guard. And so it's become one of my personal favorites. And so I'm doing Frankenstein and Monster.
What year was that one again released?
1931.
31. Okay, great. I'm adding it to the watch list right now. Another blind spot, but the poster's classic, you know. And
yeah,
like, I feel like
it honestly blew me away. I was not expecting to love it as much as I did. Like, I finished it and I was like, man, I think I have it rated like a 4.5 star. Like, so yeah.
Yeah, fantastic, great. Yeah, well, this is me just desperately trying to form connections and bounce off of between our picks. But I know it's a black and white film. Am I remembering
Yes.
that correctly? Okay. But in my mind, Frankenstein is always portrayed with some elements of green on Frankenstein. Of course, I mean the classic mistake. Frankenstein's monster is always portrayed with some element of green on him, and so that ties in nicely for my next pick, which is the 2015 film Green Room. So that was who was that? Jeremy Saulnier is the director for that. It was another A24 film, so you kind of know what you're getting there. But I saw this for the first time last year, also on Hulu. Which, shout out Hulu, they have some great films just on there, both the original content and their just the ones that they get. But it's about a kind of a punk band that travel, are doing shows, and then they end up doing this one show which ends up being this bar where these neo-Nazis hang out, which is led by was it Patrick Stewart as like the head neo-Nazi, which was just like, I don't know, played against type for him. I'm just used to seeing him being like, the elegant Professor X or Picard, and he's like dropping F-bombs and like saying questionable things all the time. So definitely different. And it's about their like fight to survive, I guess. And, I don't know. It's just like, from the get-go, it's just very like tightly paced. I'm like double checking the wiki here, but I think it's like, 95 minutes, know, so it's like already great timing choice. It's like frenetically paced, brutal. I think, very much like gets in your head too. Cause so I'm sliding this under psychological because you're kind of like, you're in these confined areas and spaces and you're just like, how are these people going to escape? What have they gotten themselves into? I mean, sadly, very prescient commentary about, alt-right, extreme, or extremists of any sort of, political party being in a space, and how do you fight that? And, for some people, it's not to get too graphic, it's you take a box cutter to the stomach and that's how you win. But like, is that really the way we should win for the rest of time? I don't know. So all to say, Green Room, 2015 film is my pick for psychological.
Yeah, that's another one that's been like floating around on my watch list for a while, that I just haven't gotten to. So yeah, you're really like schooling me on my watch list.
You same with me. So
yeah. Well, I guess the feeling's mutual then. Okay. So this is my fourth pick. We're going to start for sure. You started it with your pick, but we're going to have to start overlapping our categories now. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and go with a movie that I caught up with last year that I really, really enjoyed. It was like both fun and really disturbing, which is maybe a spoiler of the category. I'm going to go with The Thing.
Oh, yes.
The Thing it's a great movie.
So good.
Yeah, John Carpenter, just kind of like, it's wild. It's crazy that Kurt Russell is in this movie, of all people. But yeah, I think it fits for me in the gore disturbing. There's a lot of like body horror in this movie with the way this kind of like alien creature or organism, I guess, like distorts like living objects in really weird, disturbing ways. So yeah, I think it fits nicely into that gore and disturbing category, in my personal opinion. Really good movie. It's like, it's one of those things where it's like, it's very disturbing and has some interesting things to say about, what we're willing to do when like pressed up against the wall with fear and how we like treat each other, but also like is kind of like fun, like in a way that only horror movies can be dealing with such deep, dark issues and also be fun at the same time. So yeah.
Love that. No, I also had just caught up with it last. I think one of the theaters they were like, was it like an anniversary or something last year? I think
maybe. Let's see.
Yeah,
1982. So that would have been the 50th or the 40th. Yeah,
the 40th
anniversary.
Yeah. So I thought it was. I don't know. It was. I thought that was. It was also good. So that's a fun one. Great. Okay. Let me see here. I think for speaking of like one that's like both. Well, as you were saying, it's like disturbing, but also I don't know, like it's entertaining, enjoyable. I think this other one saw last year and occupy. It's a similar fusion, but this time of genre of like the body horror, but also teen coming of age romance. So it's Lucas films Guadagnino's Bones and All. So I think it's Taylor Russell and Timothy Chalamet, and it focus. I mean, it's funny. It focuses on these two cannibals lovers and their journey of trying to like navigate and build a life where they're always fighting with these impulses that they have to feed, as they say, but also it's like element of like, this is how we're made, so who are we to deny how we're made, and then also being like, but we're ruining people's lives, and what does it mean to keep appetites and desire in check? So it's like make no mistake, it's like a very like, when I say cannibal movie, I'm just like, okay, I guess we're really just gonna show you just noshing on somebody's head or something, like it'll go there. But it's very much like it's a road trip movie. It's a romance movie, between these characters coming of age, in a way with this twist. So it's a very like, I don't know, it's like, it's one of those like, it blends all those genres really well. So it's kind of hard to place, when I was thinking about it. I was like, it's gore, but it's not, there's some psychology, I don't know. So that's my miscellaneous pick.
Okay.
Bones and All. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I had heard good things about it came out last year, right?
Yeah, 2022. So yeah.
Yeah, I had
like
definitely heard good things about it, and I haven't gotten around to seeing it myself. But yeah, it was definitely like intriguing when I heard about it. I was like, oh, I might try to check this out. So I have, let's see, you have 2 more and I have 3 more now. So there's the wild card, which I need a slasher and I need a paranormal. And okay, I think I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and go with paranormal, and I'm gonna go with Robert Eggers' The Witch.
Nice.
Or if you want to have it with the 2 V's, The Vivitch.
The Vivitch. There you go. That's right.
This film is one that like kind of has grown in my estimation. Like I've only seen it once, like a couple years ago, but it's like grown in my regard of it ever since I've seen it. Just like every time I think back of it, like the imagery of it, it's this like, so obviously Eggers is like at this point known for like really being obsessive about like getting the period and the language and the and like the design and everything like exactly how it was in the setting of his movie. It's when you watch The Witch, you're very much in its world, which is an impressive thing that Eggers does. I think The Witch is probably his best film I think there's 3 so far, because he has The Lighthouse and Northman also. And it's my favorite of those 3. And the way it deals with this, like the idea of cutting yourself off from community and the dangers you open yourself up to when you do that, even if it's maybe for like justifiable reasons, or like, at the end of the day, there's a bit of pride that comes with not being willing to like give and take with a community. It's set in like early America, and I'm pretty sure, and it's like this Puritan community, or some sort of Christian community, either Puritans or something like that. And he has a disagreement with like the elders of the community, and he's basically like excommunicated from it. him and his family, and then like they're on the edge of these woods. There's like strange stuff happening in the woods. Their baby goes missing. And it's just like dealing with that idea of what happens when you separate yourself from community, and like what sorts of horrors might you open yourself up to by doing that. Super interesting and like really like disturbing, well-made movie. Yeah. So I definitely recommend that one, The Witch. I'm going to take it.
Yeah.
Did I say paranormal for it?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. Which it makes more sense when you watch the film why it's in the paranormal category, but it's definitely so you'll have to go watch it to find out why. I won't give anything away.
Yeah, no, I know like the AMC's near me, they're doing like thrills, like they're bringing back some of the classic, like those horror movies. So I think I sadly missed that one, but I know it might be on Netflix or something, so I'll probably watch it. But that's it. You saying it's like a good reminder. I'm like, oh yeah, I've been meaning to catch that one. Okay, yeah, let me see here. So final two for me. I think I'll go with so you got The Witch. I'll go I'm so torn here. It might have to just be a game time decision. You know what? I'll go with the one I feel like I can speak more about at the moment. But it was not quite The Witch, but another, there was this film, sleeper hit of last year, Barbarian. So Zach Kreger directed that one. Yeah. Oh, were you gonna say something?
I was just gonna say another like one that I have heard great things about but haven't gotten around to.
Yeah, no, it's I will just say it is without, because I want you to be able to enjoy it without me having to share too much. But like there's a monster element to the film that I think what I enjoyed in particular about it, one was that it has a lot of twists and turns. You don't quite know where it's going. But it explores this idea, I think, in general. I think it actually, or rather, it fits into this canon that I've enjoyed lately of when I think about monster movies. One of the things that draws me to those types of films is this idea of like the monsters being instruments of divine justice for the oppressed or underrepresented. And so, I even think about like, I love Godzilla, and I think it was very recently I learned it's like a allegory or connection, with the atomic bomb and, being dropped on Japan and everything, I guess that was there, but it was like, it's only been more recently I've like viewed those films through that social lens or sociological lens. So I'll just say, without giving too much, I think I like how Barbarian in its unique way fits into this canon. So that's my monster movie pick, I'd say. So yeah, that was released last year.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I guess we'll both it looks like we're going to just both save our wild card for last.
For a while.
I'm going to go with, I'm going to go with the only category other than wild card that I have left is the killer slasher. This is one that I've struggled with, like enjoying in the past, maybe similar with like the typical movie you think about with like the gore or body horror. But yeah, I've caught up with a few of these recently. Maybe I can mention others in honorable mentions, but I watched one recently that like shook me like to the core. I think it was like, man, it's one of those where you watch and you almost wish you didn't watch it.
You didn't watch
it. But at the same time, you're like, man, that was like phenomenal filmmaking. I'm gonna go with the 74 classic of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, great. Have not seen, but I can understand the reaction to that.
I was like, one of the things that like you don't really think about is like how sound can be horrifying. And like the sounds in this movie are like, it like just makes my skin crawl just like thinking about it. It's one of those that's like, I don't know, like there's probably more, the themes that it's dealing with are less like these deep emotional themes and more like maybe primal themes of like survival and the will to live and that sort of thing. But man, is it like a masterclass of setting like beauty in the background of like absolute disgusting horror. Like
Oof.
it's because there's scenes that you watch where if you like take out what's going on in the foreground, the background is like phenomenally beautifully shot. But then like you add back in what's going on in the foreground,
What's
and you're
going
like,
on?
oh, yeah. Anyways, yeah, that's what I'm going
No, that's
with
it.
for slasher.
No, it's interesting because I think the other film that I've seen described, which I have not seen, maybe it's more pivot later, was that movie Midsommar, which I haven't seen, but it's that same idea of beautiful backdrop with just like absolutely horrific stuff going on. So
Yeah.
that'll be. It's like one of those things like daylight doesn't save you here. You can watch this in broad daylight and you're still gonna be disturbed.
Yeah.
So I guess for final selection, my wild card. I know this movie has its fans as well as its detractors, but I think the more I think about it, the more I love it. It's the 2021 James Wan film *Malignant*. So this one was, I think, I think it got a limited release, but then really got a life on HBO Max. But it's just such a fun, like the way you don't expect some of the twists there. I think like James did this right after. Yeah, this was after he directed Aquaman, which is like $1 billion movie. So
Yeah.
I firmly believe. I liked Aquaman, but I'm even happier that Aquaman doing so well led to James being able to have the relational capital to be like, I just want to make this for me. And you're going to pay for it, Warner Bros. Because guess what? I just made you $1 billion, or more. Right. So everything, anyway, I don't know. It's a very, I think it's one of those movies that is funny in the ways that it commits fully to the kind of bonkers premise, and all the characters. I think like Annabelle Wallis is the main actress in it, but I think just some of the line deliveries, like I think it's easy in certain movies to be like, you're trying to go, have each line be deeper, or it's a double entendre of a greater theme, but they're just like saying the lines straight. It's just a very like kind of has that B movie feel to it, but with great effects and action. So *Malignant*. There's my wild card pick.
Yeah, that's another one. Like, I feel like I have like a running list of more recent like horror movies that I just like haven't had the chance to catch up with. It's one of those things like my wife is like, not only like is she not interested in, she's like almost like pretty much like anti-horror movie. Like, don't watch that in my house. So it's kind of like, right. It's kind of like, I'm like, okay, I have to like not talk about these movies with her at all. Like, not even mention. Just because like she's like, and it's not like, I don't think it's a flaw. I think it's just like personality. She's just like, I'm not interested in knowing any of that stuff. And I'm like, I kind of like respect about her in a way, but also like, I really enjoy like digging into these movies and like figuring out why they're so disturbing. But yeah, that's another one that I haven't had the chance to catch up with.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because the past few Octobers I've done a lot of like catching up with older stuff and like have kind of overlooked the newer stuff. But I am gonna go with something relatively newer for my wild card. I guess you could say it's a personal favorite. It might still be my favorite Jordan Peele movie, and it's probably not the one most people would think I'm talking about. I'm going to go with Us.
There we go. We have an Us lover, which is great.
I love Us. I am under no like pretense that Us doesn't have like, if you really like think hard about it, a ton of like strange like world building holes in it of like, how does this work and how does this work? But I honestly don't care, and I don't think Jordan Peele does either. Because like really like the suspense of this movie and the design and the characters, like everything about it I just love. And I love that like he's like making these like broad stroke like interesting philosophical questions with what he's doing with it, that like I don't know, I just like everything about the movie. And I think it's still maybe my Nope is up there. I really appreciated Nope. Get Out, I think, is good, but a little bit more straightforward, which is, I think, can be a strong point too. But I personally enjoy the more like ambiguous stuff as far as like, what is this movie about? Let me dig into it. And Us is definitely that. So, and then like Lupita Nyong'o's performance as both characters, her and her like underworld self, is just like next level phenomenal. Like
like if I'm ever making a case to the Academy for why horror should be taken more seriously, it's like her performance there, and then Mia Goth's performances in, you know, like X or Pearl, that I'm just like, you have these two, you know, women just bringing their A game. Like, what do you need? You know, why are they not being recognized in this way? So
it's funny because like, the reality is that like horror movies is one of the things that keeps like theaters alive. It doesn't matter if a horror movie is good or bad. Like people go see horror movies in the theater. So it's funny that like the Academy is like just totally ignores the whole genre basically.
It's interesting because I was seeing that, you know, the new Exorcist movie that's coming out, I guess as we're recording this now, it would be coming out this week, so October 7th. Like, it's getting hit hard critically, like or October 6th. It's not going to do, it doesn't, like, it got like a, you know, critically it's not doing well, but it's still slated to like open to like a 51 million plus, I think, like debut. So it's like, yeah, as you said, these horror movies are critic proof, you know, like people just want to go for a good time. So it doesn't matter if it's bad or good.
And there is a sense in which like, I don't know, I was listening to something recently, I can't remember what it was, a podcast, but I don't remember which one, where they were kind of saying like, it's kind of this weird thing about horror movies where like, it's both true that it's the best thing ever to go watch a horror movie in a crowded theater, but also like the best thing ever to like curl up on your couch alone in the dark and watch a horror movie. Like both of those things are like both true. And I was like, yeah, that is true. Like, yeah. But yeah, that was a really fun draft. I need to do more along these lines where you have like,
that was great,
different categories. I think I was going to name a couple of honorable mentions.
Yes.
I wanted to shout out one that I think some people would say is not horror, but I put it in the horror category because I think it follows a lot of horror tropes with Alien.
Yes.
I would say Alien is a sci-fi horror. I think some 100%. People disagree, but yeah. Alien, I mentioned Get Out, I think is a great movie. Hereditary, I think is very good. You know, Toni Collette's performance is like another example of what you were talking about. Like, this deserves an Oscar. I personally do like the original Paranormal Activity. I think it's fun. It's like, it's funny. It's surprisingly funny, especially in the first portion. And then like, it just does some really like well-crafted jump scare and like that sort of thing. And it's probably like a nostalgia thing. I went and saw it like opening night, in a crowded theater with a friend.
Yeah.
And like, I have memories of that. Another one that I feel like was really overlooked, the 2020, The Invisible Man with, Elizabeth Moss. It was phenomenal.
Also in Us, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
She's great.
Yeah, that one's directed by Lee Wanell, who hasn't done a whole lot, but yeah, that one was phenomenal. One from this year that I've mentioned in a past episode is Skinamarink. I really enjoyed. It's kind of one of those that it's hard for me to like recommend because I think like it's going to be like either you absolutely hate this or really love it, like I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen it and where you stand, but
I have not seen it, and it's like for that reason where I'm like, some people, they're like, they just found this the most maddening thing ever.
Yeah.
And I'm just,
Yeah,
this is one of those like insert cinema is so back memes, right? But I'm just like, it's one of those like, oh, can I sit through something like that? Maybe.
yeah.
I mean, I've heard good things from people I trust, like you know, and others. So I'm like, maybe it is worth it. But yeah,
I think it's one. It might be the biggest like differential between the actual like Letterboxd score and what I rated it from like
oh
all my
yeah,
movies. It has a 2.9 on Letterboxd,
ooh,
which generally
but
movies that fall below 3 I tend to stay away from. But I rated
yeah,
it 4 out of 5.
ooh, there we
I
go,
really
yeah.
enjoyed it. The Night of the Living Dead, great
A
classic.
blind spot for me, but I've heard great
Um,
things about that one.
mhm. There's two Nosferatus that I think are both phenomenal. The original 19 version and Werner Herzog's version from 1979 is really really good too. Um, yeah, those are. I guess those are some. I could go on because they're. I have a big list of horror movies that I have ranked on Letterboxd, but yeah, I'll kind of stop
Yeah,
there. Did you have any, maybe a couple that you wanted to shout out?
yeah, no. I will say it's funny because I know Robert Eggers is doing a Nosferatu remake, so maybe
Yeah,
once I see a trailer or press photos, that'll be like, okay, I gotta want do my Nosferatu catch up
yeah.
before
The
I see
original
the new
is
one.
is surprisingly like very eerie and like effective.
Okay,
Like when you look at like stills of it, you're like, oh, this is really cheesy. But when you actually watch it, you're like, wow, how did he make this like cheesy looking dude be
great.
so like effectively like creepy and eerie?
Yeah,
Uh,
no, that's great. I'll keep an eye for that. Yeah, honestly, I feel like in the monster category, were the most honorable mentions there because I
mm,
really enjoyed there's this 2019 film by Alexandre Aha called Crawl. It's like a it's a yeah about a swimmer and her dad, and they're trapped in their house in Florida that's about to get hit by a hurricane, and they have to fight off crocodiles, and it's just
yeah,
like, I don't know, I just really, was it crocodiles or is it alligators? I think
yeah. I think it
it
was a
is
crocodile.
alligators.
Yeah, alligator.
It's alligator, yeah. But I thought that was so fun, actually. That has a whole place in my heart because that's the first movie I logged on Letterboxd. So it was like
Okay.
back in 2019, it was like, Crawl, it was the first thing I did. So
Yeah,
maybe there's some nostalgia bias there, but I love, I mean, and this one probably doesn't count as horror, even though like maybe generally the franchises they're similar with Alien. But I
yeah.
thought the Prey movie for the Predator
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
prequel film set in, like, I thought that was so fun, very
Mm-hmm.
well done. Not once again on Hulu, I thought that was great. And then yeah, I think just two more. I think for psychological, Rebecca Hall's film The Resurrection, that was also with Tim Roth, but thought that was very, yeah, I don't know, it was, a lot of movies these days, horror movies, the shtick is like it's about trauma, like, and
Yeah.
that it's like a meme in a way. But the way, I'll just say, the way she does a great performance there, the way she embodies and explores out the theme. She didn't direct it or anything, but I think she was like
Mm-hmm.
producer, executive producer on it. But I really enjoyed her performance there, exploring that theme. And then what is one more? Annihilation, the
Yeah.
Alex
Annihilation
Garland
is
from
fantastic.
2018. So good. That was actually one of the, on that article that you'll link in the show notes, that was one of their recommendations for miscellaneous. And I was like, oh
Mm.
yeah, that one, you know, demon bear that mimics human voice. Like that's
Yeah,
nightmare fuel right there.
it
So
is.
that'll fit in very nicely. So
It's
yeah,
funny for that one. Like I saw that and I was like, Annihilation, and I was like, yeah, I guess it is horror, but that I didn't really put it on my list because I was like, I don't usually think about that as a horror movie
yeah,
because like especially like the way it ends, it like reads way more as a sci-fi movie to me than a horror movie. But I can definitely see how like you could definitely say like, oh well, it's still a horror movie. Yeah, yeah. I think that I did. I had two more that I forgot to mention.
yes,
You
no,
mentioned
sure,
Trauma, and I was like, oh yeah, I didn't mention my other choice for a slasher that I was trying to decide between. I really like A Nightmare on Elm Street. I think
Yeah.
I think it's really well done. The whole like dream world thing maybe is like inconsistent in how it works, but I mean it's a dream world. Who says it has to be consistent? But yeah, I feel like it's actually like a clever workaround to like how these like killers usually like get around way too quickly in these movies, and it's like, well, he's a dream, so like of course he can pop up anywhere.
There we go.
But yeah, I think Nightmare on Elm Street is good, and my experience of David Lynch's Eraserhead was very much a horror experience. My skin was crawling that whole movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a very disturbing movie, in my opinion.
Interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll read through the final list. Zachary took Possessor and Gore, the 1992 Candyman and Slasher, The Evil Dead and Paranormal, Green Room and Psychological, Bones and All and Miscellaneous, Barbarian and Monster, and Malignant for his wild card. I went with Psycho and Psychological, The Blair Witch Project and Miscellaneous, Frankenstein and Monster, The Thing and Gore, The Witch and Paranormal, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Slasher, and Us for my wild card. And I think we built a pretty great list of horror movies here together.
Yeah, I know. I'm so excited to see the poll and hear people chime in with their
yeah, for sure.
other recs.
Yeah, that'll be fun. But yeah, that's our movie draft.
I hope you enjoyed that movie draft. I know I enjoyed it a lot back when I did it. And so, yeah, a lot of great movies, a lot of great recommendations that maybe if you haven't gotten around to enough spooky movies, today's the last day. Obviously, you can watch them whenever you want. But if you want to watch them during the spooky season, today is the last day. So maybe choose one of those and have a good spooky evening watching one. But yeah, that probably pretty much concludes the episode. Like I said, be on the lookout for what's coming next. It might be a Spielberg epilogue episode. It might be something else. I'm not really sure. I'm trying to plan that out. And at this point, I don't know. But you will know when it comes out because you'll see it. So enjoy that. And I'll hopefully be announcing the next director I'm going to do. It will probably be next year before we get to that. But I'm excited about it. And so, yeah, it's been a great journey going through these first three directors. Looking forward to wrapping up Spielberg with the epilogue and his movie next year. At some point, we're going to be needing to do an episode on The Phoenician Scheme, Wes Anderson's movie that came out this year. So that'll be on the docket for some point. So we've got a lot of things kind of in the works. But like I said, the podcast might be slowing down a little bit. You might see episodes a little less frequently for a while. But just keep tuned in, keep subscribed, and we will be seeing you soon. That's it for this episode. I've been Eli Price, and you've been listening to The Establishing Shot. We will see you next time.
We were happy here. For a little while.
But look, I figure it this way. Better to be king for a night than schmuck for a lifetime.